Welcome students. This program is Bachelor of Arts, TYBA, subject Political Science, semester 6, course code POC 106, course title Western Political Thinkers from Rousseau to Marx. Title of the unit, that is unit 5, is Karl Marx. Name of the module is Karl Marx's views on materialistic interpretation of history. The outline of this module is Karl Marx's views on materialistic interpretation of history. At the end of this module, the students will be able to examine Marx's views on materialistic interpretation of history. Now let us study in detail Marx's views on materialistic interpretation of history. Marx's scientific socialism is based upon what he terms the materialistic conception of history. To assert the possibility of communism is by definition to assert a historical possibility. This requires, Marx argues, a scientific understanding of history, an understanding that he claims the materialistic conception provides. Marx developed his own materialistic theory of history by way of a critique of idealism and the idealistic interpretation of history. This critique and the basic outline of his own materialist conception was published in 1846 as The German Ideology with Engels as co-author. The basic proportion of this work is that the first premise of all human existence and therefore all of history, that man must be in a position to live in order to be able to make history. Before people can make history, they must first exist, not abstractly as philosophical categories, but concretely as actual existing material entities. Valid historical analysis must begin with the ways in which human beings materially produce themselves, both as individuals and as a species. This involves the study of those basic productive or historical acts by which people provide for the necessities of survival, their modes of providing activities, and the social form of reproduction by which the species of a whole is perpetuated. According to Marx, these historical acts of production have existed simultaneously since the dawn of history and the first men and still assert themselves in history today. For Karl Marx, what was important was not the fact that these acts must be always performed, but the ways in which they were performed. Over time, human beings improve their technology and along with it, their whole mode of production. Since productive activity is inherently social, they alter society also. These historical acts of production, conceived of in their social form, Marx calls the relations of production, and it follows, given this analysis, that changes in technology must alter the production and along with it the entire society. For Marx, these relations of productions are constituted by the division of labor. In every society, one finds a particular mode of cooperation corresponding to a particular level of technological development in which different productive tasks are relegated to different people. Thus, spontaneous division of labor was found in very technologically primitive societies. Different tasks were assigned on the basis of natural or biological attributes. The stronger will become the hunters, the weaker food gatherers, and so forth. Then there comes a point at which the division of labor becomes, for Marx, not only a stable factor in social life, but the very basis of all subsequent social orders. This point appears when a division between material and mental labor takes place. When a small intellectual class separates out from the mass of manual workers and devotes itself solely to the intellectual pursuits, the basic structure of society up to the present day is set. That structure, Marx argues, is a structure of class exploitation. For while the division of labor is at one level simply a division of activities, at another it is the division of property, that is, of social class. According to Marx, those who perform certain productive tasks are rewarded more than others, both in terms of quantity and the quality of the goods produced by society. For this reason, Marx believes that division of labor and private property are identical expressions. The first is the activity and the second is the product of activity. What is crucial in Marx's analysis of materialistic interpretation of history is that class exploitation must inevitably lead to class conflict. The above has been summed up in the famous words of the Communist Manifesto, thus, the history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggles. Accordingly, Marx divides the history into four stages: primitive communism, ancient, feudal, and capitalist, in which the class which controls the forces of production controls the rest. According to Marx, the progress of society from one stage to another is the result of the law of history. In each stage, each dominant class develops its opposite. As a result of the clash between these two opposites, the new ruling class emerges. At the final stage, the capitalist and the proletariat stand face to face against each other. Capitalist society, in which proletariat or industrial working class resists the exploitation of the capitalist, is the most recent example of this history. As a result of the clash between the two, classless society shall emerge. Beginning with the obvious proposition that men must be in a position to live in order to make history, Marx logically and empirically derives a sociology of class conflict. This constitutes a radically different view of history in which Marx demonstrated how idealist philosophies could themselves be explained in terms of his materialistic analysis. This is the basic outline of Marx's materialistic analysis of history. Marx's materialistic interpretation of history is considered as defective for some of these reasons. First one, Marx ignores the role of non-economic factors in shaping history. Second one, he does not attach any importance to human passions, sentiments, emotions, religion, etc. Third one, though economic factors influence human affairs, it is wrong to say that they exclusively influence all human actions. However, Marx deserves the credit for broadening the basis of the study of history by providing his theory of materialistic conception. Students, these are the references. Thank you.